The Mirror of Love: How Self-Acceptance Transforms Your Relationships. You can spend years reading self-help books, listening to motivational talks, and telling yourself you love who you are. But if you miss one essential truth, the love you're looking for will always feel out of reach. Today, I'm going to share that truth with you. It's not a theory. It's a practical, life-changing key that can completely shift how you relate to yourself and to everyone around you. This is something Carl Jung discovered decades ago, but most people never fully understand it. Once you do, you'll never see your relationships the same way again. Why love feels elusive: we tend to think our relationships are a matter of fate or luck, that we just happen to meet certain people. But the truth is, every relationship you've ever had, whether romantic, friendship, or family, is a mirror. The people who light you up and the people who irritate you beyond belief are both showing you parts of yourself you haven't fully acknowledged. If you're drawn to someone's confidence, it might be because there's a confident version of you waiting to be expressed. If someone's arrogance makes you angry, it could be because there's a part of you afraid to admit you carry that same tendency. These mirrors aren't punishments, they're invitations. They show you the places inside you that are still asking for attention and healing. The shadow. You don't see. Jung called these hidden parts of ourselves the shadow. It's everything we've denied, repressed, or decided isn't acceptable. Both our flaws and our unused strengths. When we reject parts of ourselves, we create inner fragmentation. And from that fragmentation, we unconsciously look for people to complete us, which is why we keep ending up in similar relationship patterns. If you've ever wondered, why do I always end up with the same kind of person? This is why. Until you integrate those hidden parts, your relationships will keep reflecting them back to you. Patterns that repeat. Look closely at your relationship history. Do you always feel abandoned? Do you always attract people who need rescuing? Do you often lose yourself trying to please others? These aren't random accidents. They're patterns rooted in old wounds, often formed in childhood when you first learned what love felt like. If love was inconsistent, you might now unconsciously seek partners who make you feel the same uncertainty. If love was conditional, you might feel you always have to prove your worth. Your brain is wired to seek the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. Breaking the cycle. The way out begins with self-awareness. Start noticing what kinds of people you're repeatedly drawn to. What traits trigger you the most? When your reactions feel bigger than the situation, these reactions are clues. For example, if you fear being controlled, you might resist any suggestion from a partner, even when it's harmless. If you fear abandonment, you might push people away before they have the chance to leave. Breaking the cycle means making new choices, even when they feel uncomfortable at first. If you're used to chaos, stability may feel boring in the beginning. That's okay. It's just your brain adjusting to something healthier. Turning inward. Here's the paradox. The love you think you need from someone else is the love you must first give to yourself. Self-love isn't about arrogance. It's about speaking to yourself with compassion, honoring your needs, and knowing your worth without needing constant validation. When you stop approaching relationships from a place of emptiness, you stop attracting people who feed that emptiness. Instead, you begin connecting from a place of wholeness, and the quality of your relationships transforms. Practice for integration. One powerful tool is to have a conversation with your shadow. Write to it. Acknowledge it. Thank it for trying to protect you. Tell it you're ready to work together instead of against each other. Express the parts of yourself you've hidden, whether that's creativity, vulnerability, ambition, or assertiveness. Find safe spaces where these qualities can breathe. Over time, the very traits you once feared will become sources of strength. The shift that changes everything. When you integrate your shadow, you no longer look for someone to complete you. You no longer attract people who mirror your unhealed wounds. You no longer confuse emotional intensity with real connection. Instead, you start to attract people who resonate with your self-respect and authenticity. Love stops being a desperate search and becomes a natural expression of who you already are. Final truth: love isn't something you stumble upon by luck. It's something you create from within. When you love yourself fully, light, shadow, and everything in between, you no longer fear being alone, and you no longer settle for relationships that diminish you. The most beautiful part? The moment you stop chasing love is the moment it starts finding you everywhere, because love isn't a destination, it's a way of being. And that journey starts with you. The ambulance sped through the night, sirens wailing, but inside, the atmosphere was tense and heavy. Rosa sat beside Ethan, holding his hand, whispering softly, "Stay with me, Ethan, just a little longer." His breathing was still shallow, but his pulse, thank God, was stabilizing. At the hospital entrance, a team of doctors rushed forward. The lead physician looked at Rosa and said, "We'll take it from here, nurse." But Rosa didn't let go immediately. Her fingers lingered on Ethan's arm, as if afraid that once she released him, the thin thread of life might snap. Minutes later, after what felt like hours, the doors of the AO opened again. The doctor stepped out, removing his gloves. "He's going to make it. You saved his life." Rosa's knees nearly gave way. Relief hit her so hard that tears blurred her vision. But as the reality of what she had done sank in, stealing a billionaire's Ferrari, her relief was tainted with dread. The hospital security guards were already talking to a man in a tailored suit, Mr. Donovan's personal lawyer. He was staring at Rosa like a hawk that had just spotted prey. "Miss Rosa Martinez," he said, his voice clipped and cold. "You're aware you took private property without permission? Mr. Donovan will decide how to proceed." Rosa swallowed hard, glancing toward the door. "I did what I had to do. If you want to arrest me, go ahead, but at least he's alive." The lawyer didn't answer. He simply walked away to make a phone call. Rosa sat down in the waiting area, trembling not from fear of the police, but from the emotional storm that still raged inside her. An hour later, footsteps echoed in the corridor. Rosa looked up to see Alexander Donovan himself, the billionaire, walking toward her. Tall, sharp-featured, dressed in a dark coat, he stopped in front of her and studied her face for a long, unreadable moment. Finally he spoke. "You took my car." Rosa stood, meeting his gaze. "Yes, and I'd do it again if it meant saving Ethan's life." For a moment, silence hung between them, thick, suffocating. Then, to her shock, the corners of Donovan's mouth curved into the faintest smile. "Good. That means I can trust you." Before Rosa could respond, he added, "Follow me. We have much to talk about."